So like I said, most pollution is natural. However, there is definitely pollution caused by us human beings. And these are anthropogenic factors. And so these are derived from human activity, particularly urbanites. And air pollution, about 2% of all deaths in the United States are caused due to air pollution. Key issue, in 2007, more people lived in cities for the first time ever in the whole history of human beings on Earth. First time ever, 2007, more people lived in cities than in rural areas. First time ever. And so this is becoming an increasing problem. But it's not really something new. We can go back to the Industrial Revolution, where we really saw this, step up as far as the amount of human impact. But Romans have been, they were complaining about the dirty air in their cities, some 2,000 years ago. So pollution, although not really a new thing, starting in the 1800s, 1850s, with the Industrial Revolution from your history classes, really started to kickstart. Also, what you had in early Roman time was coal burning, and so coal burning, definitely is definitely symbolic of also the Industrial Revolution. So you see, heavy amounts of coal burning, which really triggered, more of an impact by humans. This is the urban map I was telling you about, and this is carbon emissions, annual carbon emissions, and you can pick out just from looking this showing carbon where the cities are, and so you can see the what we call the Boswash megalopolis from Boston to Washington D.C. on the East Coast, and then you can see as you go trek westward, you can see Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, St. Louis, Chicago, Kansas City, Denver, all the way over to the left coast, the San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles, dense clusters. So once again, it's very much an urban issue. Historically, smog has been something that was related to predominantly coal burning, but today it's becoming more due to increasing automobiles out on the roads and increasing automobile exhaust products. And so various nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, for example, and just to give it, an example, don't do this, do not do this, but we all know what happens if you accidentally leave the garage door on with the car running. And so just imagine that in our atmosphere as well. And so then one of the things you see in certain urban areas, you see a high prevalence of smog, and it produces this hazy sky and reduced sunlight. Some images will help showcase this. This is the passive remote sensing image I showed earlier, but now I just moved up the coastline. So this is the eastern United States, and you can see this haze that goes up the coastline. And if you look at where most of the people live in the United States, overwhelmingly we see a huge cluster of population here along the eastern coast: New York City, Boston, D.C., Philly, yada yada yada. So this is just an illustration to show kind of the impact of automobile exhaust combustion products. And so, of course, with me being a big race fan, I don't want everyone to suddenly go out and think that we shouldn't drive cars anymore, especially just when you're driving cars for no reason around in circles. But anyway, most of the pollution that we see from other sources other than automobiles that are human caused are industry. Industry overwhelmingly. And agriculture is an industry, and so thinking about how we did our ag back in the day, and back in the that was horse, oxen, animals were overwhelmingly what was helping to plow the fields. Today, we've got machines, and large, huge machines that, as our farmers know, are quite the gas guzzlers. And so, broadly, we have this switch from animate to inanimate energy. Also, the fact that coal burning replaced wood. Now, wood definitely, has its pollutant, capabilities as well. But coal has is, when coal gets into the atmosphere, it then creates something that's slightly acidic. That's the issue. And so it produces sulfuric acid. And if you can go back to 6th grade physical science, 5th grade, whatever it was, remember what happened when you put sulfuric acid on something. It ate it away, it dissolved it. So this is becoming something that you see a big issue in places that have heavy coal burning industries. The biggest coal user in the world, United States. Second, China. And so the two biggest, if we look at economic, I wouldn't say economic powers, but some, two of the bigger powers in the world are huge coal users and huge air polluters. Obviously, this is very dangerous to your health. Just imagine if this acid gets into the water bodies, then the fish, then you eat the fish, yada, yada, yada. One of the things is, limestone. Limestone does not like acid. Carbonic acid slowly eats it away. We'll talk more about that later. Limestone, our whole entire downtown is littered with limestone. And so this can become an issue as slowly but surely sulfuric acid eats away at the building. And so this is a measure of sulfuric acid, essentially, and what we've got here is a pattern that showcases the Rust Belt, the places that have huge industry. Well, not really huge anymore, but they did have huge industry. And so we got, Youngstown, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Detroit, Fort Wayne, Indy, Chicago, Harrisburg, Erie, Buffalo, very much industry towns. And so we see this pattern here in 1990 to 1994. We're going to look, everything's the same. The scale's the same, but we're going to go into the future with the next slide. So the previous map looked at the beginning of the 1990s, and now we see the end of the 1990s. And you see the pollution, sulfuric acid rates are lower. And so I'm sure Bill Clinton's probably like, yeah, that was me. That was all me. It was me going after industry. But what this is probably more due to is the fact that industry is no longer here. And so these places, like Pittsburgh, Youngstown, and so on, they don't have those jobs anymore. They don't have those industries. And so now we see the movement, of the pollution to areas that are now industrializing somewhere else, typically in what we call developing